Hello, Larry Cohn. How are you?
I am great, Jim. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Fantastic. Well, I will tell you that this particular episode, you and I had talked about doing, and I'm going to adjust my camera here just a little bit. We talked about doing, and then the events of life, the subject matter didn't change, but the reality of the time that we have, just a series of things have happened in the last few days and weeks.
Right.
And I'd love you to just kind of set up and share what I'm talking about for our audience that might be seeing this and not really understand.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the subject of the podcast was going to be, why wait? Like, go for it. I mean, the Facebook Live, sorry. But specifically, what you're referring to is last week, we took a friend of ours out for dinner for his birthday. He's a young man. We met him through NextCore. We helped him start his own business. He didn't grow up with much. He grew up over in East St. Louis, but he is one of the hardest working, sweetest, kindest guys you'll ever meet. We helped him start a business called Twins Red Carpet, where he does auto detailing, haul out, professional cleaning services, etc. We had a really nice dinner. He loves steak. We took him to Morton's Steakhouse downtown, had a great dinner. Afterwards, he wanted to go see his dad, so we dropped him off at his dad's house, only to get a phone call about an hour later that his dad wasn't answering the door, and he came in through the window and he found his dad dead in bed. And his dad was, in relatively good health, in his late 60s. And the poor guy has just been devastated since then. He was really, really close to his dad. Since then, he's been like on his own mission to give his dad the finest funeral that he can afford to give him. He's been working. He's been out raising money. We set up a GoFundMe account, but really, it's just that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that sets up the show for this evening.
Yeah, and I want to take that another direction, but I'll just share with you also. It's been a series of realizations, over the last. Really, for I think everybody that might be watching this, the last 15 months or so, that life is short, it's fragile, it can go in an instant. And I called out a couple personal friends by name that I told them I was going to mention their name, and I will get to them here in just a minute. And the subject of this is to just go for it.
Yes.
Or time to go for it. And so I want to start by kind of framing up what Unapologetically Us is. So there's a lot of people that in our lives, and I would say yours is more recent, Larry, mine has been more consistent, but a lot of people that have said, man, you don't even really think before you talk. You just say what's on your mind. You're unfiltered. One of the things I always heard was you have no inner monologue. And I kind of believe that if you have to think about what you're saying, it's whatever you say next is probably going to be inauthentic. And that may be not true, but it's my truth. And so I almost always ready, fire, aim. I always say what I feel. Nobody wonders where they stand. Because of that, you get a lot of haters, but nobody wonders. And so Unapologetically Us was, as we were going through our travels and life changes, you got like hate mail from people about why you were doing what you were doing. And you're like, but I'm just being me. And that's where the term, and I know it's a common term, but that's where Unapologetically Us, and in particular, this segment came about, was we're just going to be us, we're going to lay it on the line. And those that like it, those that don't, but those that don't won't anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So in that vein, let me frame this up. And this is unrehearsed, unplanned, but I want to talk for just a little bit about Twin. And Twin is probably the sweetest guy I've ever met in my life. And he's had just a series of shitty things happen to him, but he still maintains this incredible positive attitude. He lost his dad on his birthday. But the moral of the story, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up, and I hope everybody that's watching this that knows Twin takes note of what I'm about to say. There's nobody I know that has ever asked Twin for anything that didn't get what they asked for. Not the help they needed, whether it was 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 days in a row. And when we put out this GoFundMe account, I am surprised, disappointed, and in some ways just outright disgusted at the amount of people that have not stepped up to help this young man that helped them, whether it was detailing their car, helping them move, cleaning out a storage locker, moving their business from one business to another. Like, nobody that asked Twin for help didn't get it. And, you know, we have a lot of people say, well, I don't have a lot to give. Bullshit. Give $1. $1 shows you care enough to do something. You know, and my parents are retired on Social Security. They gave $100. Right. So I want to say to everybody that's listening that knows Twin, it's not too late, but like, do something. It's really borderline, in my opinion, disrespectful that they
How would they go find that GoFundMe page?
You know, I knew you were going to say that. You keep talking. I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to share the link in here so people can find it. I should have been prepared. I told you it was unrehearsed, right?
Yeah. And, so, you know, both, I mean, Jim and I are really different in a lot of ways. And so for me, Unapologetically Us doesn't mean that I'm unfiltered and just, you know, speak off the tongue like he does. I think I'm a little bit more filtered than he is on certain levels. But for me, Unapologetically Us just means that with, you know, COVID and with so much that has happened in the world in the last year and a half, it's really time to be me. And in my uniqueness and individualness, I hope that I can give a platform or permission or encourage or inspire others to be themselves. It's just time to be who you are and start living your life. As we found with Twin's dad, you don't know when it will be taken from you. So just be yourself. Never in the history of the universe has there been another you. God made you unique. So celebrate yourself, celebrate with us. And today is Unapologetically Us.
Yeah, so I want to just continue down the path and keep talking about this. Twin's a great guy. His dad was a great guy. Pleasure of working with him. Share the story if you're about the first time I saw his business card, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's just a heartwarming, touching story.
You know, when we opened NextCore, it was one of our missions to help people, you know, form businesses that had skills like so many of us do, but maybe not the resources. So Twin was that perfect model. He was so talented in so many areas, but just didn't know how to legitimately set up and operate a business. So we helped him. We got him a website. We got him business cards, and his dad would come and help Twin at the building, whether it was cleaning or car detailing. And one afternoon, his dad stopped by, and I said, I want to show you the business cards that we have for Twin, for your son.
And the article had just come out on Twin.
There was an article in St. Louis Magazine about him. Yeah. So I showed him the business cards. I took out the computer. I showed him the website, and his dad just started crying. Tears came to his eyes, and he said that, Larry, he said, never did I think a son of mine would have a type of business like this. And he said, thank you so much for giving him an opportunity. And, you know, tears were flowing down his face. And he was so proud of his son. He was so proud of Twin. Twin was and is a role model over in East St. Louis of what can be. Because there are so many people, like one of the best things that I've been enriched by getting to know Twin is I've had an opportunity to meet people that I normally wouldn't have an opportunity to meet because of where I live, my economic background, color of my skin, etc. And Twin has introduced me to so many fine people, so many incredible people that go against like what we hear about in the news, meaning like they're not wanting to be on unemployment. They do work hard. They are honest. And so it's really refreshing when you meet people like Twin. And that's why I want to and have established this GoFundMe account with Jim, because his dad meant everything to him. And we would like to honor Twin and help him give his father the burial and service that Twin wants to give him. So hopefully Jim will have that information up of where you can contribute, and
it's already up.
Yeah, that's great. And if nothing else, just say a kind, inspirational word of support. That's good too. So thank you for that. And
yeah, and I want to just mention someone by name too. We talked about this beforehand, but there was a young lady that we used to work with. Her name is Michelle. And she went on and made one of the neatest comments I've seen, just a total class act. She said, look, I've never had much money to be able to do things and donate, but if there's anything else that I can do to help you, anything whatsoever, you're an amazing guy, please reach out. And you know what? That to me is worth more than the donation, because it was genuine, it was heartfelt. And I want to compliment her, and I'll message her directly after this. I probably should have already, but it's time like to just take action. Since that happened, there have been a lot of things that I've seen. I was driving down the road. I just bought a new motorcycle, and I'm driving down the road. It's a rainy day, and all of a sudden the highway backs completely up, and I come around the corner, and there's a motorcyclist down that had lost control, hit the median. He was bleeding. The people had rallied around him to stop any more damage, I guess is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. And they blocked traffic, and they really banded together. It was really kind of neat to see. And that realization hit. The dealership where I bought my bike, their marketing manager used to work for us. He was our marketing manager at NextCore. And I found out that he was in a really bad accident back on May 19th. And he is right now, hopefully paralyzed from the neck down, or from the waist down. So these are great people that things are happening to, and it really prompted kind of a restructuring in my mind of what this segment should be. And I'd like to just really dive into that with the following statement. Somebody once asked, what's the most expensive piece of real estate anywhere in the world? And you get all kinds of answers, Manhattan, Paris, you get all the typical answers. And the answer that they gave in response was really profound to me. They said, it's the graveyard. And it's the graveyard because so many people had $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion ideas that they never did take action on.
Or just dreams. Maybe they weren't ideas, but they might have just had dreams of a place they wanted to go to, or something that they wanted to do in life, something they wanted to try. Yeah.
And guys, it is time to go for it. And I want to kind of weave our own little spin on this, if I could. One of the things that Larry and I believe in wholeheartedly is a concept we came up with called the Focus 10. And the Focus 10 is a series of 10 things that you need to pay attention to, focus on, to live your best life. And birthed out of the Focus 10 was the group that we launched back on June 14th that goes officially live tomorrow, called Meraki. And when we were doing this, before we were doing this, really for my whole life, and Larry, I think for your whole life, you've been a firewalker, you've done crazy things that other people wouldn't do. We've done crazy things together that other people wouldn't do. But I've always believed that if you're going to do something, you do it with every single ounce of energy and passion that you have. And that's how Meraki was born. And then our podcast that we recorded. And then I'd like to have some conversation. And if anybody else wants to chime in or ask us a question, I would love to do that. But a childhood friend of mine, Danny Beaver, later became Daniel Shepard, later became Michelle Shepard, and went through this transition. And she was, from a very young age, haunted by the skin that she was in, because it didn't feel right to her. And she has now, actually 8 years ago, she began the process of transitioning from Daniel to Michelle. And the tens of, maybe hundreds of thousands of people that she has impacted, multiple time MTV acknowledgement / award recipient, trans person of the, whatever the calendar timeline was at the time. She lives in Australia. She's done incredible things. And I met a young lady just the other day that came out in January as bisexual. It was her, she'd been struggling with it for years. And I was able to quickly say, you know what, you've got to talk to Michelle. I don't know what you're going through. I can't relate, but she can. She can help you. She can help you deal with whatever you're feeling. They've already connected.
Yeah, and I've never met Michelle, but I have spoken to her a couple times. And it's just the two things that strike me are just, number one, just as another human being, the empathy that I have for the kind of loneliness and darkness that she felt for so many years, not being in the right body and not being able to express it or share that. And then secondly, just for her bravery as she is transitioning. She shared stories of how she's been shoved, pushed down, spit on. I mean, just like unbelievable stuff. And she's just trying to be her. She's just trying to be unapologetically Michelle.
Right. Yeah. And like violence that she's encountered,
Yes.
Just pushing down is one thing, but the amount of violence and things that she has experienced really were telling for me. And there's stories all over of people that take tragedy and turn it into something. So Larry, for me, and I'll let you talk, you went through, a bunch of incarnations with your restaurant business.
Right.
And you just kept going for it. And then you came up with a very bold concept. Can you talk a little bit about the decision to do that, change that, make those moves, and what it took?
Yeah. So, I mean, we had this, I had a business partner who was a phenomenal chef. Anyways, long story short, we, put out our best meals, our best service, the best we could do in everything. And we were not making money. We were just going broke. And we tried everything. We changed the menu. We changed the hours. We changed the decor. We tried everything that we could to make a go of it. And we were running out of money. And towards the end, I just had this idea. And the idea was just to be really even more bold in who we were, because our food and our restaurant was just not a place where people would come to eat. It was like the blending of ideas and the sharing of tastes. And we incorporated different foods from different countries and different cuisines and different backgrounds. So long story short, I just said, let's make it a complete package. Let's make our restaurant an experience, not just for the taste sensories, but just for the visual experience and for the experience of being in an environment that promotes and inspires collaboration and fusion. So we reached out to some artists in Phoenix, and we got some really bold art. Some people might say it was, intimidating. And we had, I remember comments from customers coming in saying that type of art didn't belong in a restaurant. And I remember telling my staff that I'm really happy that those people didn't like it, because we inspired something within them. and that was fine that they didn't like it. But the more we became ourselves, the more people found us and liked it. So in other words, like in business, it doesn't take a lot of people to make money, but it does require a unique product and a unique brand. So we had the artwork. We did things like crossover night, where I encouraged my staff to cross over and be in whatever fantasy that they wanted. So like people would come in for dinner and you might have a server or a bartender dressed in something very unusual or very provocative. Again, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but it didn't need to be. And most importantly, it was reflective of myself and my business partner, Eddie, because we were both bold and electric in our style, and his food flavorful. So it came together, and just as we were going broke, like we just laid it all out there. We just put ourselves on the line, and you know what? People responded with just a lot of positivity. And long story short, we made a lot of money, and it was probably my most profitable and most exciting business venture that I've had. And I'm just really grateful to the fact that we weren't a success in the beginning, because we were a little bit watered down in the beginning. And the failures gave us the opportunity to really just say, okay, if I'm going to go under, I'm going to go under as Larry. I'm going to go under as Eddie. We're going to go under as this is our style. And when we put it out there, we were rewarded for that trust.
And that's the thing that I wanted to kind of share in here. We've talked about living your best self and living your best life. And that's really what Meraki is about. And that's what the Focus 10 is about. And it's why we put those things together. But if you don't have it in you to go for it, I don't know what to tell you. I want to be encouraging in this, but you have to just go for it. Larry and I have both lost a lot of weight, and we started where we were. You know, he started at 360 pounds. I started at 350 pounds, and we just started doing the deal day in and day out. Then when we got where we were comfortable, we took the next step, and we took the next step in our evolution, and we grew. We did the same thing in business. And it doesn't always work. It sometimes, sometimes fails, right? You're not going to always be successful, but it's like riding a bike. You know, you don't say I failed at riding a bike 71 times. No, falling is part of the process of learning to ride the bike. So for me, it's just really key that we share those things and we encourage people to take the next step. So I will put the link down below so people can see the Meraki Life Facebook group. I encourage you to join that and start taking part in that. We're doing a big push right now that really is a big undertaking for just a handful of people to do for a nonprofit called Revitalize, where we're telling the stories of people that are doing good, people that are just going for it. We met that lady from Pocket Parks that is doing some amazing things. And you know what? She shouldn't be able to do what she's doing, but no one told her that, right? So she's just doing the deal. So Larry, I don't want to belabor the point.
Marlon Whitfield from the Whitfield Foundation for Success. I was just listening to his Facebook Live yesterday, and just about the dream that he had and how he started it. And the Changemaker series that we're hosting for Revitalize is just another opportunity that I hope can inspire folks by just saying, you don't have to have a lot to start. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to wait until ... You just do it because you have such a burning, red hot desire from within you that you just do it. And I've heard so many people in my lifetime say, I want to contribute. And if I had the money, I would contribute. Or I want to do this. If I had this, I would do this. And you can just start now. You can just start with $1 a week. You don't have to wait until. It just feels good to start doing whatever it is that you want to do now. I just, it seems like a good time for me to share a story. As Jim said, I've gone through many personal incarnations in my life. One of them was I was homeless. I was broke, had nowhere to live. And I knew that I didn't want to stay that way. And I knew one of the things that I needed to do was start investing, because I knew investing was good. And I talk to people all the time about investing. I'm just a huge believer, just invest. And this, what I get is like, oh, I will. If I had money, I'd invest. But like you can start investing $5. You can invest a couple dollars. You can invest $5 a month, $10 a month. You can find something that you have to invest, and it grows and grows and grows. So, I mean, I've been sharing some of my, uneducated, intuitive advice on stocks and investing. And, a lot of people.
Disclaimer, seek a licensed professional for any real legal financial advice. Larry's not a financial advisor or planner. Go ahead, Larry.
But,
I just saved you from a lawsuit.
The returns are great. It's really exciting to see people, getting these great returns and just starting with something small. So just whatever it is you're waiting for, just start. Right. Hey, Jim, tell the story about that new Ford truck that's coming out, and for $100 you can like put your name on. Like that's so another example. Like if you want that, just set it up, put it out there for the intention. Can you let people know about that?
So, and I want to share the story behind it. So my son wants a truck. I gave him my car, bought a new car, gave him my car to drive. He wanted a truck, and he's been like harping on me, trying to get the truck and all this. And I just saw that Ford is coming out with a brand new truck, pickup truck that's an electric hybrid. And it's, they're trying to make a statement in the marketplace. It's under $20,000, and it takes several months to deliver. And so I was looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, like what's involved? How do you order one? You put $100 down. You go to the Ford website, you put $100 down, and then the truck comes in 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 months, whatever it is, whatever it takes. It will come in, but you can completely customize it the way that you want it. So I thought, what a great incentive. So he's got some things that he wants to do in school. He's got other things. I don't know. Look, I don't know how it's going to work out. There's not an extra 20,000 laying around for anybody that they don't have earmarked for something or some plan.
Yeah.
But what I do know is if me putting $100 down and letting him customize this truck to his specifications and his liking will broaden his dream. I can't remember who said it, but a mind expanded can never go back, or something like that. It's an incredible statement, but once you catch the vision, you catch the belief, it doesn't go backwards, right? You just have to believe that somehow, some way, something is going to work out. And I've got countless examples of that. That's a subject for another time.
Can I share a story? I just thought of something.
Yeah, no, please.
It reminds me, there's a story that was told to me. It's a great story. There's two people waiting in line for a movie. The movie just came out, and they're really excited to see it. And everybody wants to go see this movie. So there's a long line, and they're waiting in line. And the whole time, like, I don't know, hour and a half, they're waiting in line. They're talking about like how great the movie is, and they're meeting people, and they're, sharing like things they've heard of it and like what they anticipate and hope to get out of the movie. And they get up to the ticket counter, and the lady says, "I'm sorry, we're sold out." And you know what they said? They said, "Damn, we just wasted an hour and a half having fun." So he may get the car, perception. He may not, but it's all about how you look at it. So the worst that can happen is you set the intent and you go for it. You may not get it, but if you never take that chance, if you never give yourself the opportunity, you just you're just shortchanging yourself, because life is about the journey. It's not about the destination. So enjoy the journey. Just go for it. If you don't get there, just make sure you have fun along the way.
Well, and it's also, Larry, for me, and again, we have countless stories of things that have happened and examples that back up everything we're saying. But my mom has struggled with her health for a while. She's having trouble walking, some other things. She was in a physical therapy center trying to get better. And like they do, the insurance company said, that's enough, time to go home. And she was scared to go home. She's probably going to be mad that I'm calling this out here. But she said to me, I don't even know that I can walk from the car to get into the house. And I said, well, I'll be there. And I went there, and my son Andrew was there, and he helped, but we helped her inside. And I'm telling you, she like beast mode walked from the car up to the house in a way that she hadn't before, because she felt confident that someone else was there. And there's at the end of the movie Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman has this quote. He goes, you got to get busy living or get busy dying.
Yes.
And I truly believe that is a reality for everybody. You've got to make a decision to live, or by default, you make the decision to not live, and die is probably the wrong term, because you'll continue to breathe. You'll continue to be upright, but you're not really living.
But you're not really living,
existing. Exactly. So all of these things could have happened. And I want to recap my part. I'll turn it over to you, Larry, for anything that you want to add to it. But, death has been everywhere for the last 15 months. And if you don't know someone that has been impacted by tragedy or loss, then you know someone that knows multiple people. It's just the reality of the world that we're living in. So we should all feel inspired to take action. But I still see so many people that are scared. They're living in their bubble. They're afraid. They're reserved. They're unwilling to jump out there. So here's my words of advice, and then I'll hand it over to you, Larry. It's time to go for it, right? There is no reason to wait. But if you think there is a reason to wait, what I'm going to ask you is what you're waiting for. The conditions will never be perfect. The situation will never be right. You will never, ever, ever, ever live a Meraki life unless you're willing to go for it. And go for it when other people say it will be too difficult. But remember, the beauty is in the journey, never in the destination. Larry, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can finish this out.
And I'd love to hear from anyone else out there that has stories of how they just decided to go for it, and maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't work out, but it wasn't really the working out that they were after. It was the freedom of going for it, and just what it felt like to honor that place within you and just say, you know what, I'm going to go for it, because if I don't, I'm not living my Meraki life. And I think that's why Jim and I started this Meraki group, because I don't know, like 2 months ago or something, I never even heard of the word Meraki. Jim found it somewhere. But
we've been living
it's
it
really appropriate, because
decades,
it's putting your all into it. It's leaving a piece of you behind in whatever you do. It's your soul, spirit, creativity. It's your passion. It's how you live life. So I'd encourage everybody to join us with the Meraki Life and share what you're going after and why you're going after it.
Yeah, and I've got my call outs, I promise. So if you're done, I want to give some shout outs and some call outs to some people.
Great.
So one of the people I want to call out first, a guy I've known for 30 years. Maybe he's a guy by the name of Kendrick Mayo. So Kendrick and I spoke on the phone pre-COVID, talking about how life was going. And he was like, man, I wish I would, I have this passion. I want to follow this dream, but I'm just not ready yet. So I'm sharing with all of you, and I'm sharing a call out, shout out to my friend Kendrick to go for it. So reach out to me, reach out to Larry. If you have my number, you can find us on Facebook. But Kendrick, it's time to go for it. The time to wait is over. I'm also going to call out Melissa Moen. So Melissa actually is a colleague of ours. We work together at NextCore. She's on the board of Revitalize with us. She has a dream to start a very particular type of business, and I won't share it because I don't want to give away any of her trade secrets that she shared with me. But today is the day to start. Today's the day to start laying the foundation to begin doing it. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just have to start, and then you'll figure it all out. Another shout out and a compliment to Michelle Shepard for everybody that she touches in her life and all the things that she does. It's fantastic. Some other people that we've talked to recently, I'll save those for another time, but it's time to go for it. Kendrick, Melissa, you're on my radar. Go for it.
Thank you.
Larry, anything else?
No, I think that's great. I'm good.
Awesome. Well, we really, 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 really appreciate all of you being here. We appreciate you being a part of the Jim and Larry experience. It's been really a crazy ride so far in the few months that we've been putting this together. And what we have going in the future is going to be even more exciting. Today is the last day of the first half of the year. What are you doing to make the second half even better? Tune into our podcast tomorrow and find out what we think you should be doing. So with that, we are signing off, and we will talk to you guys later.
Great night, everybody.
Thank you.